Good morning, Nicole Snow here. I wanted to use this Friday again to share some information about health. So during the week, the videos are personal development, leadership, but I also feel like it's really important that we bring a health component into it. And as an RN, that's near and dear to my heart. And today's topic is as well. Reducing inflammation has had a huge impact in my life, and I first started really studying it because my family, both my mom and dad's side, have a really high rate of cancer, and I wanted to see what I could best do to help prevent that. And as I came to study it, I came to the understanding that, that there's hundreds of diseases and disease processes associated with inflammation, which is astounding because inflammation is something that we can have an impact on. I can't change my genetics, but I can definitely impact inflammation through my nutrition and supplementation. According to statistics from the World Health Organization, over 13 million people died in 2004 from cardiac-related illnesses. And every year, according to the World Cancer Research Fund, it's estimated that 8 million people die from cancer. And both of these diseases have a huge inflammatory component to it. And study after study shows that inflammation is related to disease and disease processes. So we want to shift the balance in our favor. And in addition to supplementing to reduce inflammation, we can eliminate some things in our nutrition or our food intake that are causing those problems. And I know it can be hard. One of my favorite foods I react to is bread, wheat. I can't eat wheat, and I love it. It's my favorite. When I mess up and I have some and don't feel good because of it, Corey will say, why did you eat it? And I was like, because it's my favorite. It's not like cutting out Brussels sprouts or something that I hate. It's my favorite food. So I know that it's hard, and I'm not just trying to put these things out there. I also know that we fell. I dipped into the Halloween candy this weekend for sure. But we have the opportunity to reduce inflammation on our body and remove these foods that set the stage for it. So the first one is sugar. Sugar sets the stage for tooth decay. It's also related to increased risk of obesity and chronic diseases such as metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes. So sugars, we find those in the American diet. We find it a lot in soda, fruit juices, which we think are healthy and we just feed them to our kids all the time, and other juices. Other places that it's hidden that you can look for: pastries, desserts, and actually a lot of foods that shouldn't have sugar in them do, because it has an addictive quality. It feeds our brain something that our brain likes. So a good replacement for it is stevia. And you can buy that and grow it as a plant. You can also buy it already ground up and powdered and able to add to your foods. Another inflammatory food that we have in our diets commonly are cooking oils. And they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids and really low in the omega-3s. And some of those are like polyunsaturated vegetable oils like grapeseed, cottonseed, safflower, sunflower oils. And we have to work hard to eliminate those. That's a lot of the oils that are used in restaurant cooking and in processed foods. So it's pretty hard to get those without that in it. A great substitute that's high in omega-3s is macadamia oil, also extra virgin olive oil, and coconut oil. Coconut oil is great to cook with because it has a high flash point. You can cook at a very high temperature before it smokes. And another one is dairy products. Dairy products are a great source of protein and some other nutrients that we need, but there are a lot of people, they estimate maybe even 60% of the world population that can't digest dairy. And we find it obviously in the dairy aisle, all of those products, but it's also added to a lot of processed foods, and you really have to read the labels. A lot of nutritionists feel that you can have yogurts, unsweetened yogurts, and milk kefir to get the protein and the other nutrients and vitamins from milk, where the lactose and some of those other proteins are broken down a little bit and a little more easy to digest because of the process of culturing that dairy product. Another area is refined grains. most of the grains that we eat nowadays are refined and really devoid of the nutrients that they inherently had in them. And they're in everything. White bread, cereals, they're put into, wheat is put into things that it doesn't even need to be in. So it's pretty hard, and you really, really have to watch the label with that. It's saying that if you want to replace it, to go for minimally processed grains if you're not gluten intolerant. And when in doubt, if it doesn't look close to its natural state, don't eat it. And that's probably a good rule of thumb, just period, in life. And the last one that I wanted to share with you is artificial food additives. And some of those, like aspartame and monosodium glutamate, or MSG, have been linked to trigger inflammatory responses, especially in people who already have inflammatory conditions like arthritis. And these are hidden in a lot of foods. Obviously, you have to make sure at like a Chinese restaurant that you can get it MSG free. It's something that they put in food to add flavor. A lot of packaged foods, and so you have to be really careful about that. And really, you have to, as far as substitution for it, work on eating whole foods and not processed foods, and flavoring with herbs and spices. And it can be hard at first, and your palate has to adjust, but get through that dip, get through that hard part, and those foods will start to really be delicious to you. So we really need to shift the balance in our favor. We can work on our nutrition. There's supplementation. I shared with you last week the Washington State study that talks about activating a pathway in the body that reduces inflammation. And so that's a whole area of science and nutrition called nutrigenomics, which is influencing our body at the cellular level, at the gene expression level, to do certain things. And in regards to inflammation, there is a pathway that can be triggered to reduce inflammation in the body by helping the body make huge antioxidant molecules that help clean up those free radicals and thereby reduce inflammation. So there's one that I found that I take. If you want information on that, shoot me a message. If you want information on the probiotic that I take, shoot me a message. If you're ready to make some big changes in your health and you don't know where to start, I would say this is the time to have a keystone decision where you just pick one thing. And it can be hard because there's conflicting ideas, there's conflicting camps, even within just nutrition and opinions like that. But pick one thing. Maybe this weekend you can just decide to cut out sugar. And it can become a keystone decision because as you see the changes in your life from it, you can go on from there. You can think, okay, maybe I'm going to look at grains, or maybe I'm going to look at the type of oils that I use in my food. And it can have that ripple effect through your life. So don't get analysis paralysis and do nothing because there's so much information out there. Choose something today that you can eliminate that is going to give you better tomorrows, because there's no point to all of the work on personal development and leadership and goals if we don't have, if we haven't taken care of our bodies in a way that we can get out there and impact the world. And when my brother and I were home and visiting in Star Valley this summer, they had this quote on the wall at the CrossFit gym we went to, and I loved it. It's by Socrates. He said, "No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." And I know that our bodies are capable of an incredible amount of health and healing and strength. And let's challenge ourselves to make that as possible as we can and create an optimal nutrition intake for our bodies. Thank you.